Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a pretty fascinating high-level module from the Strategic Leadership and Operational Management Framework. If you're feeling a bit stuck in the day-to-day grind and you really want to elevate your organization from just, surviving to actually thriving, well, you're in the exact right place. Let's dig right into how the best leaders structure their approach to operational management. Okay, first things first, we need to completely challenge your current operational mindset. The core philosophy here is moving beyond the traditional tools. But, what does that actually mean in practice? Basically, we're talking about stepping past those reactive habits. Constantly putting out daily fires, relying on the same tired spreadsheets, or just managing by gut feeling. It's about shifting into a highly intentional, proactive strategy. Think of it like building a machine that runs with absolute precision, rather than just constantly reacting to whatever the market throws at you. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to break down 5 core pillars: the tools, staff, KPIs, portfolio and marketing, and finally the budget. Let's just jump right in. Section 1. Moving beyond those traditional tools. Advancing your management toolkit really means permanently retiring that one-size-fits-all approach to running a business. Just think about how often organizations borrow a management structure straight out of a textbook or maybe from a competitor, only to find out it is completely misaligned with their actual culture. It just doesn't work. It's all about building custom strategic models that fit your exact organizational DNA. Relying on the whole, well, that's the way we've always done it excuse. Yeah, that simply won't cut it anymore. True operational management requires a continuous, active advancement of your resources. You've got to constantly ask yourself, are the tools we're using right now actually equipped to handle the scale and complexity of where we want to be tomorrow? Because honestly, if you're trying to manage a modern, dynamic team with outdated, static tools, well, you're already falling behind. Moving to Section 2, Leadership and Staff. This is all about choosing exactly who you bring to the table. Now, this framework treats top-tier leadership and your broader executing staff as 2 entirely distinct strategic pillars. And let me tell you, this is a massive shift for a lot of organizations out there. You might be wondering, why separate them? Well, it's because choosing the visionaries who actually steer the ship requires a completely different evaluative lens than selecting the highly skilled specialists who, keep the engines running day to day. Lumping both of these critical hiring processes into one big generic human resources bucket is a super common pitfall, and it's one this framework actively avoids. Think about it like this. When you hire leadership, you are fundamentally buying into a future vision. But when you hire staff, you are building the exact mechanical capacity to execute that vision. Treating them as the exact same strategic muscle, that just leads to leaders who get bogged down in the weeds and staff who feel totally disconnected from the big picture. All right, Section 3, KPI development, how we actually measure success. So once your world-class team is built, you obviously need key performance indicators to track their momentum. But here's the catch. The framework insists you don't just pull generic metrics off a shelf. Far too many organizations track things simply because, well, they're easy to measure. Those are just vanity metrics, right? And they absolutely will not measure unique operational success. Instead, you've got to build your KPIs from the ground up, making sure every single data point you track directly answers to the strategic goals you've just established. Listen, if a metric goes up, but your core mission hasn't advanced one bit, you're tracking the wrong thing. Developing these indicators requires you to define what winning actually looks like for your specific operational context, and then engineering the precise mathematical way to prove you're getting there. On to Section 4, Portfolio and Marketing. This is where we build out those external strategies. I want you to notice the deliberate sequential relationship here. It's a really powerful 1-2 punch. Step 1, portfolio planning, dictates exactly what you're offering to the world. And only after that is completely locked in do you move to Step 2, marketing planning. Now, I know it sounds super obvious, but you would be absolutely shocked at how many organizations try to build a marketing narrative before their product suite is actually finalized. Honestly, they just end up making promises their portfolio literally cannot keep. You simply cannot successfully sell a story externally if the product suite isn't fully defined and solidified internally first. The strategy absolutely must flow outward from the product, never the other way around. Let's look a bit closer at Step 1, portfolio planning. This is where you intensely strategize your exact range of offerings. This isn't just about jotting down a list of the products or services you happen to have right now. No, it's about ensuring every single project, product, or service in your portfolio perfectly aligns with that high-level leadership vision we talked about earlier. And this requires some brutal honesty. You have to ask, does this offering actually advance our overarching goals? Is it profitable? Does it even make sense for our brand anymore? If an offering doesn't serve the core mission, or if it just drains resources without a real strategic payoff, it gets cut. Simple as that. Your portfolio is the tangible proof of your strategic intent. Directly tied to that portfolio, of course, is marketing planning. This is the strategy that actually takes your carefully curated offerings to the market. The framework pairs these two elements really tightly together to ensure you have a totally cohesive operational engine. Marketing essentially acts as the essential bridge, closing the gap between what you're building behind closed doors and how the world actually perceives it. It is not just about making things look pretty, guys. It's about translating the deep strategic value of your portfolio into a language that your target audience fundamentally understands and, more importantly, desires. When marketing and portfolio planning operate in silos, you just get confusing messaging. But when they operate together, that's when you get real market dominance. Which brings us to our final pillar, Section 5, the budget, the ultimate anchor. The budget is the ultimate reality check. It's the vital financial anchor required to actually fund all those ambitious leadership choices, those expansive marketing campaigns, and the bold portfolio developments we just went over. I mean, you can have the absolute best team in the industry, the sharpest marketing strategy, and a completely revolutionary suite of products. But without grounding every single one of those decisions in the hard, unforgiving reality of the budget, the entire framework completely collapses. The budget isn't just a spreadsheet of limitations, though. Think of it as the numerical expression of your strategy. It tells you exactly what you value, because it shows exactly where you're willing to put your resources. If your strategic priorities aren't reflected in your budget allocations, well, then they aren't actually priorities at all. So, looking at the big picture, when these 5 elements finally connect, leadership and staff choice, KPI development, portfolio planning, marketing planning, and the budget, they form a truly comprehensive operational engine. Just think about how seamlessly they feed into one another. Your specialized leadership and staff drive the overarching vision. Your carefully engineered KPIs keep everyone on track and totally accountable. Your refined portfolio defines your concrete value to the market. Your marketing strategy amplifies that value so the whole world can see it. And finally, your budget sustains and fuels that entire ecosystem. This deep interconnectedness is exactly what it means to go far beyond those traditional isolated management tools. It literally transforms a collection of separate departments into a unified, unstoppable force. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to ask yourself, which of these 5 operational areas are you currently neglecting? Be honest. Where is the weak link in your organization's engine right now? Maybe your team is absolutely great, but your KPIs are totally misaligned. Or maybe your portfolio is incredibly strong, but your budget just doesn't support the marketing it actually needs to take off. Think about how applying this structured, interconnected framework could entirely transform your daily operations. The key takeaway here? Keep pushing beyond the traditional and never ever stop learning,